Chef, let's do it. Orange Juicers gonna lead this ban phase. A Sableye ban. Did you predict that one?
No, not. Oh no, okay, it's backwards. Yes, this is gonna be a Sableye ban from Stamina.
Oh, that
which
makes a lot more
does make
sense.
a lot more sense.
Understood.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
we are going to be seeing the Sableye targeted out, which does make a lot of sense. I feel like we probably only have one Sableye left. Or who else plays Sableye?
Yeah, we got a few players, especially on the international squads. Just a couple of the Japanese players do really enjoy playing that Sableye. And even some of the other Latin American North teams, they look forward to Santos Laguna potentially bringing out that pick as well. But okay, Stamina, or sorry, this is going to be the Orange Juicers on the orange side, of course. That had to happen. Fate, they knew it. Yep. And they will be selecting the Galarian Rapidash and the Latios. Okay, Galarian Rapidash was one of my picks to watch during this tournament. I think it is going to be such a formidable Pokemon, even with some of those recent nerfs that's received. So look out for this Pokemon.
Right.
I didn't predict Tyranitar. Well, I kind of did, but don't worry about that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that if it ever happens.
Exactly.
The Absol on the other side, that's going to be pretty interesting. We haven't seen too much like full speedster play yet.
Yeah.
And then the Buzzwole, which is looking to be the most consistent pick maybe that we're seeing so far. We're also seeing the Snorlax get pretty far down as far as the picks go. I thought that might have been stolen away a little bit earlier.
Yeah, a surprising selection. I mean, Galarian Rapidash was such strong favor. That is very interesting. But does have its own crowd control. A very amazing Pokemon at doing so. Smart Strike, one of those powerful abilities. And we will see Dodrio in this draft, by the way, not from Reggie, but instead from Kratos, a notable bird Pokemon enjoyer. Loves the Talonflame, loves the Dodrio. So those high speed, high damage selections, they are all about it.
Yeah, we've got a few bird enjoyers, I think. I don't know why, that's just an archetype, but
is Latios a bird? A debate that we will have to have.
We do not have to have that at all. All
right.
But the comp from Orange Juicers, I love. I mean, I think these are solid comps on both sides. My biggest question mark, I would say, overall, is why Crustle and why Crustle so early would be my big question, right? I mean, Crustle, good, but I mean, have you heard any rumblings about Crustle being, like, terrifying?
Very funny. I do like the rumblings.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was very, very solid. Well, I think we did see it from this team specifically in the past. However, I haven't heard that it's dominating the metagame or anything like that. I think it is still one of those second-tier defenders. I would consider Snorlax to be a lot more stronger, but Stamina Esports, last time we saw them, one of the kind of criticisms we gave that team is we just saw so much Slowbro out of that team. It was almost the 100% pick rate from that squad. And starting to see a little bit more flexibility, though, I think is exciting, and it does pair very well with some of these attacker Pokemon with the Espeon. The question I have for the other side, though, Wonder Chef, is this Orange Juicers Flareon's on Latios. And I think it's a pretty big question mark. Is this Pokemon as powerful as I think the general populace thinks it is? Very strong attacker, but here we go. Let's get into it. It will be our first game. We're going to have a quick pause on screen, though. I took a really big breath before saying that, so I'm going to say this very excited. We're going to a quick pause.
Or we could say it really, really slow. It could be like, let's get started.
Exactly.
With game. Like, I think they're actually starting it, so I'm trying to hold it, but
yeah, it's going to be a long extension if we're going to keep that one. All right.
We are actually getting back in. But yeah, great question as well as we get here into the first match. Going back out of the pause and immediately, what was that? We just immediately unpause. Roland, of course, where he is 90% of the time.
Wow, okay, so Roland will secure the first central area Pokemon of the game on the opposite side. So Frank will not be able to secure on the Absol, and the Ponyta will take the first objective. They're going to be sporting that red buff at the start of the game.
This might be the best meta for Roland ever. Okay, hold on a minute. Roland, but just going to be able to escape. Another Pokemon that's going to be so hard to take down once they get the invade, but they should be able to catch right there eventually. But, I mean, do either with that or with the Ho-Oh or with the Band Away, Sableye. There's just so many options, and that's going to build so much space, I think, for kind of building up a late-game Latios for Flareons.
Yeah, also just getting the Galarian Rapidash online a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
You know, it does have the experience share. It could be held back, but now stealing a lot more experience, you're going to have access to Smart Strike a lot earlier. Zugrog showing no fear, trying to open up a bit of space for Kratos. Gets a lot of damage and is able to secure a knockout on the Absol, but it is a trade 1-for-1 Crustle. Gonna get that last hit on a Kratos. Big stun for Reggie. But Zugrog covered by Flareons. Great duo here in the bottom half.
Yeah, this is going to be a very scary path. You can see the stat on the bottom. They got a 70% win rate in this season, but 71 from Stamina. 1% difference. Big stat change. But I am
interesting though. Yeah. I mean, both these teams I think could be sported as having incredible regional success, being the major story between these squads. We're only going to try to bail as Sherlock, they had another name change for this tournament, shout out, will get a KO streak of 2 on this Zacian. Great early damage.
That's another one of those, I mean, you were talking about that as potentially the top half pick, the Zacian, but the top half matchup, that could be a little bit tough depending on who's with you. And right now, Zugrug getting caught out, not going to be able to make it out of there. Tried his best, honestly, that was pretty good, but just was able to, get caught by 4 people. What are you going to do?
Reggie just landing some really wild hits on this Espeon. I mean, that was the way they shut down that very first invade of the game, was a very, I would say, latent hitbox on that Psyshock, and now just landing so many of these. It's been really tough for Orange users to deal with this threat in particular. I feel like they've kind of found an answer for Frank's Absol, at least in the early game, but Reggie's Espeon has been a challenge until Flareon really gets a lot of stacks on this Latios. They're not going to have very much range threat to deal with.
Yeah, we are going to see a pretty safe Flareon so far. Not been the one who's been getting picked off, but everybody else on the side of Orange Juicers basically has. And it's because this burst damage is so high. Psyshock plus Absol plus Zacian, plus you get Rock Tomb 1 time, and it's just like, okay, well, I'll see you later.
Yeah, exactly. And take a look at this topside matchup. OG barely are getting to level 7 now, and Sherlock is already at level 8.5. So this has been a landslide of domination on the top side. Bashi with that quick portal to the top side means that they will be able to threaten, take the Registeel since that tier 1 goal zone was already broken, and bring the team up to threaten the Regieleki as well.
Oh, and we're going to see Pachi get caught a little bit. They're going for the Reggie, and it is going to be going to Stamina once again. Double objective, a great way to start things off. They are going to be defending and jumping in, but they just get melted. Flareon's not going to escape this one either, and the Regieleki going in. Everything going the favor of Stamina Esports.
Wow, I mean, Orange is just trying to take a pretty risky fight there to defend that goal zone. You saw OG try to pull off an eject button combo with that Buzzwole, and unfortunately, due to the Absol's timing of their attack, just kind of misses. So Buzzwole caught kind of in the midst of an enemy team. No one really there to defend the goal zone. Regieleki lands, and now they haven't broken that tier 1 yet. It is a huge overdunk potential for Stamina Esports.
Another big thing is that we haven't been able to see Roland really get over into the enemy center area very much after that first time. So it kind of feels like Stamina Esports has been given a lot of space, and they've been leading in each path, basically. So I feel like the only way that we really make a big comeback here is we've got to see Flareons pop off in the late game. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to see from this Dodrio going in very, very far, but so far, it just has not worked out.
Great cover for both the Crustle and the Espeon there, timing their crowd control abilities just off tempo enough to shut down a Pokemon like a Dodrio, even after a triple trample. Like, that is not an easy combo to resolve. Absol Unite will try to get a bunch of burst damage, and just on the outside of that damage will be the Dodrio. Buzzwole also gonna fall, and now we are in a position where we get set up for another overdunk attempt at that 5 minutes. Orange Juicers rallying back for the defense, though.
Jeez, this is looking so tough, and the rotation down with the Hoopa portal. That's going to be pretty much everybody down on bottom. Going to take this Basin Reggie potentially very, very quickly. The secure that we have on the side of Orange Juicers, not super scary. The ability to steal is not going to be huge, and right now they're just getting spaced out anyway, pushed all the way back. First big KO onto Zugrug. Roland's going to come down to try and assist, but look at this. They just cannot take down this Crustle. They're all attacking it, and in the meantime, there's an objective, and they still don't get him down. 2 down on the side of Orange Juicers. Stamina are running them over.
Oh my word, this Crustle is just truly immortal running into the enemy side. That is brilliant. Of course, helped a little bit by that Regirock buff. That defense goes a long way on an already tanky Pokemon like Crustle, basically happening in the nick of time. The Stamina Esports are just eliminating every opportunity for Orange Juicers to claw their way back into this game. Even an early rotation by Zugrug just to gain information is punished by this Stamina Esports squad.
A 100% success rate on taking objectives from the side of Stamina. All the rotations have been so good. Zugrog just running forward, saying, I'm not getting out of here. Nothing is going in Orange Juicer's favor. Again, like I said, the biggest potential comeback is that we could see a really strong late game Latios, but they've just gone so far behind. And the thing, again, you know, Latios new Pokemon, so I'll explain a little bit for people who aren't aware. You farm stacks on that Pokemon by taking down wild Pokemon. Once you KO wild Pokemon, you get a stack, and the stronger, more stacks you have, they stay permanently, and they power up your moves, essentially. So you really want to try to stay and farm and become very, very strong in the late game. However, if you're getting pushed the entire time, you don't have your tier 1s, they have tier 1s, you don't have that many things that you can farm. You cannot build up those stacks, and you're still strong, but you're not terrifying.
Right. Yeah, you can stack up what's called that Eon power via knocking out wild Pokemon or even enemy player Pokemon if you try to pull that off.
Also
there
not
you
happening.
go. And you see that we just saw the effect there on Crustle a moment ago. You can get these after effects of a lot of your moves. The Flare with that Dragon Pulse getting a short dash of damage, but watch those little, I think they're the Delta symbol, flying through the air and dealing some extra damage. This could be a contested fight from Orange Juicers towards the bottom side. However, Premuge setting up some early Rock Tombs, making sure this bottom side is isolated. Orange Juicers going to have to be the aggressors in this team fight, but two of them are trapped by a Rock Tomb.
Okay, well, I got my answer as to why they picked Crustle so early. This is a very good pick for them. Right now, though, they are slowly just kind of seeing if Orange Juicers are going to try to go for this Reggie Ice. 12 seconds left before it despawns, so it looks like nobody's going to be going for it. Pretty aggressive here, though. This could be a huge pick for Orange Juicers. It is 5 seconds left to the final stretch. You got to take advantage of this.
No Unite moves spent on either side, so no panic Unite moves for Stamina Esports, and Orange Juicers don't have an overinvestment. So great look for both these squads, honestly, but OJ going to have the advantage here. Complete isolation of the Rayquaza pit at the moment.
Oh, they've got basically all vision on it as well. They could potentially go for a rip if they wanted to. The thing is, they just don't really have that damage as a team. But they at least have to start threatening it. They are holding some pretty forward position. We get to see a little back cap, just barely, few points, just to kind of try and even things up. And the score lead is not huge. It's not like if they take Rayquaza, they can't win. If some big back cap's gonna work as well. They're going really deep in, and they warp once again, going to try to catch out this cross. The Unite coming out, though. Countering, gonna get the KO in return on Latios. Flareon's immediately down. They need the damage. Unite coming out from the Hoopa, and they're just going to continue to melt down this team. Unite coming out from Snorlax. Zorg maybe a little bit late on that, only able to save himself. Roland is still sticking around, but they're just burning down this Ray.
Yeah, Zorg and Roland just now on damage control, trying to hold the line as long as they can, but Reggie going to line up that secure, that Espeon untouched on the top side of the map. Stamina Esports going to secure the Rayquaza with already a huge points and level advantage. This is looking like a very clean win for the Latin America North squad.
Once again, I gotta say it, that Crustle was looking amazing. They put so much focus into taking down Crustle, and then it was two times, and it just didn't work out. They did manage to catch it out one single time, but then no resources were spent. Very smart, I think, from Stamina to say, okay, just go down. You've got time to come back. But yeah, this was a key Pokemon in winning this match, guaranteed.
Well, and Orange Juicers kind of thinking the same wavelength as you. We're trying the exact same approach. Even after the second fight around the Crustle, I mean, the Galarian Rapidash Unite move, which essentially works as a super mean look, for anybody who doesn't know, with the big triangle on the ground, is targeted towards the Unite moving Crustle. Like, that they're trying to slow down this defender player so much. I mean, it is seriously, it has to be a very intentional game plan, but it won't work out for this game number one. It's Stamina Esports holds strong.
Very, very strong. You should not have agreed with me. That was on you.
Okay, sure. I'll take the blame for that one. That's wild that happened. Stamina Esports will not be banning Disableite, by the way. So if they had any intel from maybe scrims or even ranked gameplay from what Orange Juicers likes to play, and they know they're trying to bring it into this tournament, it might not be. It might have an option. And wow. Okay, so they targeted the Crustle all game long.
Yep.
And they're like, we got to start earlier. We actually have to target the Crustle earlier, and we are going to first pick it. Wow, what a call out towards this Latin American North team.
That is a huge call out. So they banned 2 picks, and then they picked a 3rd pick. Impressive. So they're just like, whatever you played last game, you're not playing that again, guaranteed.
Okay, interesting. I mean, this could be Orange Juicers getting the hard read that they maybe think the weakness of Stamina Esports could be how deep their Pokemon pool is. So Orange Juicers, like you mentioned, they banned 2 selections from the last one and first pick it, and there we go, yet another option taken away, as the Zacian is going to be picked as well.
4 out of 5 so far.
Yep, that's happening. happening.
Yeah. Orange Juicers, there's like target drafts, and there's this Orange Juicers targeted draft.
Orange Juicers, yeah.
Okay. Lapras, a Pokemon that I expected that we were going to see a good amount, but I haven't heard as much chatter about it. Did just get some nice buffs.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how that one's going to do. I feel like we're seeing a lot of Pokemon from older metas and a lot of I don't know, tankiness kind of coming back into play. Not necessarily so much on this team so far, just as far as the new meta Pokemon.
I do think we're going to see quite a great weekend from Lapras. Of course, it's one of the tankiest in terms of special defense that we have in the entire game. Not to mention, has a ton of very strong HP recovery of its own right. So, Pokemon like Galarian Rapidash and Mew getting that extra damage in might be able to fight that a little bit. Reggie is locked in the Espeon. Now, traditionally, this pick, hovered and selected by Frank, has been a Reggie Pokemon. However, that Espeon looks so clean in game number 1, and Frank obviously has a mastery of Speedsters in the Absol showcase we just saw. So I think we're likely going to see those Pokemon from Stamina Esports stay locked in to those player selections.
Yeah, Reggie, even back when Reggie was on, oh my gosh, what was the team called originally? I'm totally blanking out. But the one, they were sticking together forever. I'll remember partway through this game, I'm sure. But Reggie, back, of course, playing a lot of speedsters, but would flex over to the kind of special attackers a lot. A pretty good amount, not a small amount, so seeing him stick to that around this comp is, I think, quite good. But I do love seeing the Flareons is on the Mew. Mew has never had a bad tournament, in my opinion, or at least this season. And it's just tough because it's not an easy Pokemon. And it doesn't always fit the meta exactly. But the question is, like, how exactly I think they're going to use it. And right now, with the item picks, it looks like it is going to be just kind of the normal Flareon's carry Mew.
Yeah, very damage focused. That drive lens, of course, going to be scaling up even more if you get knockouts or assists throughout the matchup. But a very important factor on a few Pokemon with that item is the cooldown reduction. Mew loves cooldown reduction. That Pokemon's got 6 moves to cool down, so it can use everything it can take. That drive lens is going to be an important item in this matchup. So let's get into game number 2. Orange Juicers. Backs against the wall as they've taken their first game loss of the tournament. Stamina Esports, on the other hand, undefeated.
Once again, Roland going to be invading, going pretty deep with that Galarian and Ponyta at the moment. We'll see if it ends up taking any of those buffs. But down here on the bottom side, we're going to see a pretty scary path once we see the evolution of this Eevee. And yeah, the Galarian Ponyta does look like was able to be very, very successful. It's sitting over there.
Yeah, and we saw because poor Sarua had to come back in a path with no HP and take a citrus berry so they could keep fighting the Galarian Ponyta. So yeah, Roland having a lot of early success. Zogrug not at that level 4, but is still going to try to take the offensive position. Flareons with 19 points in pocket. Clear evidence that the bottom side is going extremely well for them.
There we go. That's what I like to see. Unfortunately, we're late to see the full action. But yes, the fact that we could see 4 players and a lot of them very low meant that I think Orange Juice's plan worked pretty well as far as things go. They did only lose 1, as we saw Roland, I believe, escape that situation. But might not do as well for them in this fight. We are going to see the re-engage down from the bottom as Kratos is going to pick up a KO as they get those first burns.
Yeah, good punish from Roland too. So OG goes in, takes a pretty big risk on Zacian. Like in that early game, they don't have access to Sacred Sword or Metal Claw. We don't know which option they're going to pick, as Sherlock did go with Metal Claw in that first game, so we'll see. But it's a pretty big risk, but of course Ponyta there to cover with, well, I believe it's Tackle and Confusion in its early moves at the moment. Does not have access to its evolved form, and of course the newer moves it will have the choice to take. But that early damage, enough to knock out the Dodrio.
You know, side little thought here, we got to see Latios unbanned and not picked for the first time. Obviously, we're only a few games in, right?
Wow. It's encounter rate.
Encounter rate, not 100%. Imagine. Pachi, though, getting burned down as the Zacian looking very good from both sides so far. I think your call earlier was perfect. That's Pokemon we're probably going to see quite a bit. I'll admit that you're smart, even though you cursed my Absol ban moment.
Yeah. Okay, so an interesting kind of pace to check this game right now. At the 7-minute mark, we're going to the 8-minute mark. Both these teams drafting extremely strong in the early game compositions. Zacian, Espeon, Dodrio, Zoroark, Leafeon, all of these Pokemon have very impressive early spikes, but so far it's been a pretty even matchup. You can see this with a tier 1 push and a tier 2, or sorry, top tier 1 and a bottom tier 1 push simultaneously. These teams kind of moving in lockstep, but Orange Juicers did win the fight at 8 minutes around the Swablu Altaria. So if we have any kind of check so far, I'd say they're winning the matchup, but Stamina getting a nice KO out of the Mew.
Ooh, and a big pushback from that Dodrio. That's a great way to kind of steal away one of their Pokemon, get a big pick. It's not going to be easy to push onto his Zacian, especially if they can stay on the pad. Wow, Roland just barely surviving there. Playing a little bit of a Psyduck strategy, I would say, altogether with that Pokemon. But the objective, getting burned down very, very quickly. They've got to be careful. Zacian can steal that away very well. Big beam, huge, gigantic combination right there. The beam hitting, of course, from Flareons, and then Kratos just able to finish off pretty much. Actually, they got one apiece. That was actually beautiful.
It's so impressive. I love that. Good teamwork, of course, with the squad. You set up that damage from range. I love to call it the hammer and anvil strategy. In this case, Leafeon is, of course, the anvil. Mew Solar Beam going to be the hammer.
Of course.
If anybody needs more, allegory explanations, I got you.
Yeah, we need a tier list of what blacksmithing tool every Pokemon would be. Reggie still going down.
Take this quiz. Are you a hammer or are you an anvil?
I honestly have nothing for that. But right now, OG getting pulled away. It's just so far away from what.
I appreciate your honesty. All right, Roland's not quite at level 9, but does take quite a bit of burst damage. Immediately jumps in. Smart Strike, Dazzling Gleam does set Kratos up for a first KO. This Lapras, as tanky as it may be, Orange Juicers are the one with the level lead in this matchup. And this is what you see when a team already has kind of a chokehold, just a gripping point on this matchup. They just start taking these really far fights, really early moments, and there it is, yet another goal zone break.
And can I say this is one of the weirdest mental switches, because Orange Juicers switched sides, and then they chose or not 4 out of 5, but they chose a bunch of the Pokemon from Stamina's first game, and now they're winning in the way that Stamina was winning first game. So in my brain, I'm just like, yeah, Stamina's winning again. But every time I have to look back to reality.
I don't know if Orange Juicers knew they switched spots, by the way. They just took the entire central area spawns from the orange side of the map. So Orange Juicers trying to claim absolutely everything. They are greedy, but we do celebrate that fact here at the Pokemon Unite World Championships here in 2025.
Orange Juicers are a greedy team in general.
And we celebrate that.
Yes, we do celebrate that. Hey, we know it works, and it works right
It's working
now.
great.
Yes. We're going to have the Regieleki spawn in just a few seconds. There are a few members of Stamina up there to potentially challenge it, but it doesn't look like they're going to get all that close. They don't have very good steal on their side. Like, if they're really going to steal something, it's probably got to be the Espeon. Oh, they are going to be using that Unite just to try to get a KO here, and I like that. Waiting out the entire Unite with their own Unite coming out there. We are going to get at least 2 KOs, probably more and less. Oh my goodness, that was so much damage. Did you see that?
Yeah.
On the way back, the Leaves did infinite damage.
Kratos popping off with his Leafeon, just has no HP. He's able to pick up a few of these KOs. Flareon's pulling off with a jet button dash to pick up even more AOS energy from their fallen comrades, but into a Regieleki debuff goal zone. That's going to pay off extremely well. So some wild exchanges, a wild team fight in the orange side central area, but in the end, it's Orange Juicers getting the payout as they break that tier 2, get a few knockouts, and have broken that 300-point mark at this point in the match.
And of course, getting that Registeel, which meant that that entire fight was done without one of their members, who is currently, their second highest leveled Pokemon.
Yeah.
So they are just looking exactly as good, I think, as Stamina was looking in the last game around this exact same time.
Yeah.
Maybe even better, if I'm being 100% honest. 239-point lead. They are going to continue fighting over here in the center. Not that much to do. Big Unite being popped by Zugrug, not getting attacked into, I believe, during that. Wow, huge X's are going to catch 3, and the Rock Tomb to stop them from getting out, but nobody's really backing him up. There's a little bit too much of a fight behind him. He wasn't able to delay them for a very, very long time. However, that fight, again, was not really over anything. They just wanted to fight.
You can see how hard Frank is trying to avoid Roland in these team fights. The Zoroark and the Dodrio, honestly, both of them being these speedster Pokemon, are so susceptible to the Smart Strike of the Galarian Rapidash. That stun, there's no other way to say it, it's gross. Like, it holds you in place for so long. It has a reposition effect as well. It can be really tough for some of these squishier Pokemon to handle. And there you see, Roland has these call-outs so perfectly teeing up their team every time.
Oh, Frank going in, getting a solid amount of damage. Reggie as well, landing a pretty big side shock. However, just not quite enough damage to get a full pick. This Regieleki is sitting up here, and if there's any time now that Orange Juicers can maybe not freely burn down an objective, it would be this exact moment. However, there's 20 seconds left. One of these teams would really love to take it, and they are burning it down. OG just going to go in with the auto attacks. No, they're going to use that for an advantage. Huge rock tomb, and this is going to be the fight for the 2 minutes. Just going to be jackpotting in with the Unite from the Espeon is a great way to engage. However, it's KO'd in return immediately. We are going to see as well just even more damage line from Stamina go down. How do you take advantage of this, though, as Orange Juicers?
I mean, you got 3 Pokemon down. Dodrio is still up with a Unite move, so Sherlock may be the only hope for Stamina Esports at the moment. Stun's rolling, but the stun is there right back. Triple trample hits multiple targets. Galarian Rapidash is down. Rayquaza at below half HP. Sherlock also at that same rate. Side Shock will take it. Reggie has time to respawn, get in position, and lands an absolutely huge skill shot the whole time. Dodrio making a mess of the Orange Juicers with a KO streak of 4, but they got a long way to come back.
Oh my goodness, they're still not in the lead. I don't know who if anybody else has shields, really. For sure, Reggie's gonna be able to pick up so much Eos energy from that center area, and they are gonna get back that lead.
But do you, or do you leave it for the Zoroark or Dodrio to pick up some more speedster-oriented Pokemon that might be safer to escort it? That's gonna be a Mew boosted auto attack that would follow you all the way back to the home base if you wanted to. And yeah, we see here Reggie actually leaving all that Eos energy for Dodrio, who has that very unique scoring mechanic. Gonna be a lot easier for Sherlock to put those points in.
Right, I mean...
They do have the lead, by the way.
They do have the lead. I do believe probably... Oh, the Lapras Unite! Taking them all the way on the train! You can't stop this! We are going to see some scores going... No! Immediately taken down, and the score stopped as well! Wow, there's still only a few points of a lead, but who from Orange Juicers can get to the other side? Do they even know that they do not have the lead? Yeah, it's been hard to keep track with so much back and forth. We've got to see some scoring. Leafeon's attempting in the bottom right. We are going to see an attempt to back cap. It's probably going to get stopped by the Crustle.
No.
Oh, no, it actually went in. That might seal the deal.
Yeah, Silgrog not able to stop that 50 points. Lapras having a small shield, but still having a shield. So that outer hitbox of the Rock Tomb not going to interrupt the score. Flarion's attempting to get a few more points in, but it's too little, too late. Stamina Esports are going to take down Orange Juicers 2-0.
Wow, and a huge comeback in game number 2.
100%.
That looked